December 11th felt rehearsed. Not officially. No one sent an agenda. The way my mother-in-law placed the folder in the center of the dining table aligned perfectly with the wood grain. Told me this had been discussed long before I was invited into the room. "Sign this," she said, tapping the first page. "Transfer control of Lily's trust to me." I didn't touch the folder. Why? She didn't hesitate. "Because I don't care about your feelings. You're not financially savvy. I know better." It was the bluntness that startled me, not the request. She had implied this before in softer ways, fanned comments about my emotional decisions, little jokes about spreadsheets and numbers. But this was different. Clean, direct. Husband didn't look at me. "Just sign it," he said, like we were finalizing a utility bill. The trust wasn't theoretical. $50,000, set aside by my late aunt for Lily's education. I had spent months setting it up properly, choosing a conservative investment structure, adding oversight mechanisms, making sure it couldn't be casually redirected. Remember insisting on those safeguards. Everyone smiled indulgently at the time. Let her feel involved. Closed the folder without reading it. "No," I said. There was no dramatic escalation, no shouting, just a pause long enough to register disobedience. My mother-in-law's jaw tightened. My husband exhaled sharply. I'd embarrassed him in public. "You're being difficult," he said. Maybe I was, but difficulty felt safer than regret. The weeks after that were quiet in a way that felt strategic. Polite breakfasts, short conversations. No one mentioned the trust again. Air in the house shifted. I could feel the recalculation. I questioned myself more than they did. Was I protecting Lily, or my pride? Was this about control? I reread the trust documents late at night, searching for reassurance that I wasn't mishandling something complex. That's when I remembered the clause. When I first met with the estate attorney, I had asked what would happen if someone tried to pressure a transfer of fiduciary control. Explained conflict of interest triggers, mandatory reviews, automatic compliance flags. Insisted those protections be written in clearly, dual authorization, independent oversight, formal documentation of intent. It felt excessive. 3 weeks later, my phone rang at 9:12 a.m. The caller ID showed the law firm's name. The lawyer didn't waste time on pleasantries. "We need to clarify something immediately," he said, his voice tight. "Your mother-in-law contacted us to initiate a reassignment of control over the trust." I said nothing. That request triggered a compliance review. Because of the protective clauses in place, system flagged the transfer attempt as a potential conflict of interest maneuver, particularly given the beneficiary is a minor and the current trustee has not consented. I let him continue. "There are liability concerns," he added carefully. "Pressuring a trustee to relinquish control without due cause can be interpreted as coercive interference. We've advised all parties to cease further action." Cease further action. The phrase felt sterile, official, final. After the call ended, I sat at the kitchen table, the same table, and stared at the empty center where the folder had been. When my husband came home that evening, his tone was different, measured. "Mom said there was a misunderstanding with the lawyer," he said. "I'm sure there was," I replied. "Didn't ask me to sign anything again." My mother-in-law didn't bring up finances at dinner the following Sunday. She didn't apologize either. But she addressed me directly when discussing Lily's school plans. Small, deliberate acknowledgments. A shift in temperature. No one celebrated. No one admitted fault. But something structural had changed. Wasn't that I had outmaneuvered them. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't threatened anyone. I had simply refused, ensured that refusal was backed by systems stronger than opinion. The power hadn't exploded, it had settled. I understood something uncomfortable in the quiet that followed. My husband had expected compliance. Not discussion. Not partnership. Compliance. That realization sat heavier than any argument could have. Our marriage didn't collapse. We still shared routines, conversations abed, but there was a new awareness between us. I was not the soft variable in financial decisions. I was documented, countable, protected by design. One evening, as Lily colored at the coffee table, my husband said, almost casually, "You really thought ahead with that trust." I looked at our daughter. "I thought about her," I said. That was all. There was no revenge, no dramatic reckoning, just a quiet fact: the next time someone slid papers across a table, they would read them more carefully before assuming I wouldn't.